Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Sekiro Shadows Die Twice complete walkthrough. And this is episode 11, which I have named Ashina Castle Phase 2. Because we have moved the game into Phase 2 and we are gonna head to Ashina Castle, the only thing we're gonna do before we go there is to have a rematch against the Guardian Ape. You know, we took him down in episode 10, but I told you that he isn't quite dead. He still has the centipede in him that infests him and which keeps him immortal. So it's time to kill him once and for all. And this fight is just like Phase 2, where we met him in Bodhisattva Valley. He uses the same attacks, he has the same big sweep, he has the jumping sweep, and he has the terror scream, and we are just gonna punish them the same way we did the last time we faced off against him. But this game has a reputation of being hard, and it lives up to that reputation, and this this fight has a twist. Of course, they can't just let you take him down and punish him once again, but they are gonna mix things up here, which you will see as soon as we go into Phase 2 of this fight. Because Phase 2 starts off with him running over to this wall and doing a version of his terror scream, and he calls in backup. Asshole. He brings in the missus, and as soon as she comes into the fight, she fights as the Guardian Ape does in Phase 1. She is a bit more stressed, but she also has a much smaller health bar and posture bar. And I want you to focus all your attention on her as soon as she joins into the fight. Because we want to take her out as fast as possible. Because these two also like to stay really close together. That is a problem in this fight. The reason I was running around there was that if you get him to do his terror scream, she will start running at you, and that is your best chance to punish her. Because that is one of the very few times you will have ample distance in between these two. And you saw also, the game trolled me. I had a death blow on her. As you can see, she has really small health bar, really low posture bar. But for some reason I didn't get the death blow. And I'm playing this extremely aggressively. If you want to, you can do it a lot more passively than I do. Try to run in, do one or two swipes at her, just whittle away at her health bar. But I wanted to get her out of this fight as fast as possible, and as you can see, she is very susceptible to the firecrackers. But as soon as she goes down, we are gonna continue just the way we did before she joined the fight. I did a little misread there. I thought he was gonna do his swipe, but instead he did his terror scream. And now everything is easy peasy again. We just parry his swings whenever he does them, or try to parry them at least. And when he does the big overhead swing, make sure to parry it so he falls over and we can yank out the centipede again. As I mentioned in the previous episode, have the spear equipped and thrust it in and pull it out. So press R2 twice, because you will instantly wreck his posture bar more or less. Look at this, I thrust it in and I pull it out, and look at that posture build up. That is just beautiful. And he is also a bit easier this time around, because we got a memory from him the last time we fought him. So we are a bit stronger this time as well. But he goes in for the jump, and we just jumped over it, and we are gonna end him once and for all. Because after you do this death blow, wait around for a few more seconds and you will get a new death blow marker, where we use our mortal blade and we pull out the centipede, so the guardian ape is now dead. Once and for all, and for time and eternity, or at least until you start New Game Plus. But there are some great rewards for taking down the two of them. First of all, we get a memory. We get 2 prayer beads, one for the big ape and one from the small ape. And we also get the bestowal ninjutsu. And bestowal ninjutsu works kind of like an Akko's sugar, but it's activated by doing a death blow on an enemy from behind. If you do a death blow and you have it equipped and you press R1 again, Sekiro will buff up and it will be like an Akko's sugar. And the best thing about it is that you can use it in combination with an Akko's. So you can pop an Akko's, do the bestowal ninjutsu takedown, and you will be a beast for 30 seconds. And we are gonna use that on one of the very late game mini bosses, because that will make him a cakewalk, more or less. But I talked about in the previous episode that you are now locked out of all the sculptor's idols in Ashina Castle. The closest one you can get to is the abandoned dungeon, which I teleported to, and we're gonna head back into the midst of the castle again, because now this castle is under siege. And we are gonna take down 3 different mini bosses in this episode. So I recommend, if you have money to spend as you pass this vendor, make sure to spend them. I decided to just bank them and buy coin purses. You don't have to do that. If you want to buy items or consumables, feel free to do so. I did it just because I didn't feel the need to pick anything up. But Dragon's Blood pellets can be really good to pick up while you have the chance to do so. But as I said, now the castle is under siege, and you can see the normal soldiers we used to fight here are now running away or are in different states of dying, and it's all because of these fellas. These guys can be very dangerous. You can see that they are fighting with 2 swords. And when they hit, it does hurt. You can see right there. But other than that, it's just like normal enemies. Try to parry as much as you can and go for swings whenever you get an opening. Very simple, very basic. And by the time you have gotten to this part of the game, you should be quite well versed in all the mechanics of combat. But now we're heading into the moat, because we need to go this way to get back inside the castle. Down here there is also a treasure carp scale, so make sure to kill that as we are passing through. I've talked about the carp salesman, and there is a second one in the last area, or whatever you call it, that we unlock. We are not gonna go to him, but the first vendor will get his inventory, and you do need quite a few treasure carp scales to buy everything he has. He also sells lapis lazuli that we need to upgrade our prosthetic tools to the max level. But in that area called the Divine Realm, there will be quite a few carp. You will not see me taking them down in this walkthrough. But if you want to go there, you can kill, I think there's like 10 or 14 or something like that down there. But now we want to get up to the Ashina Castle antechamber. You know, where we did the suicide run the first time we were in the castle? And I'm trying to go basically the same way I did that time. The night jars have now disappeared, so you don't have to be afraid of anyone. One of them comes sweeping down from a kite and instantly killing you. And if they did, they wouldn't be able to, because we are so buffed up right now. Instead, they have been replaced, by the way, by these purple ninjas, and I recommend just run past them. They can be a tall order to take down, and there are 3 of them on this roof alone. But now we are in by the antechamber sculptor's idols. We can re-find it. And now we're gonna take on a boss that we have faced previously. They start reusing bosses in this game, and I'm not a super big fan of that. But we are gonna kill the chained ogre once again. And there is also a little twist to this fight. Because we are more buffed up now than we were the last time we went in here, and so is he. He actually has red eyes now. And what that means is that he does extra damage whenever he catches you or when he hits you. I was just going here trying to get to a new skill point if this was to go pear-shaped. And if you want to level up, I recommend go back to Mibu Village, to the ninja there. He still drops a significant amount of XP, so if you want to get leveled up faster, grind him for a little bit more. But since this is the chained ogre, we equip the flame vent, and we're also gonna equip oil, if I can just find it in my inventory. And down on this beam, make sure to hang from the ledge, go over him, lock on, and drop off, so we get an instant death blow. Cut his health in half. As you do, as you do. Then we throw some oil at him, so he gets easily flammable, and we torch his ass. And do 6 swings max. 5 if you want to be really safe. 6 if you're feeling a little bit ballsy. Then we just wait for the flames to go out, and we torch his ass again as soon as we get an opening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Immediately run away. And the best thing about the flame vent, I think I talked about that the first time we faced off against him in the Ashina outskirts, is that the flames of course do chip damage to him. And once again, 6 swings, no more. And as I said, if you want to be extra careful, just do 5. You have significant oil, and or you have sufficient oil, was the word I was looking for. So be careful. There is no reason to take any unnecessary risks. And he, as I said, he does have red eyes. You see they are red and glowing. If he grabs you and slams you down on the ground, he will take like 80% of your health. So he is really dangerous, but we fight him just the way we did the last time we faced off against him. And as long as you're careful, you shouldn't have any problems at all. But he is the first of 3 mini-bosses we're gonna take out in this episode. And I would say he is also the easiest one. The other 2 can be a little bit finicky. One of them can be super dangerous if you decide to take him on fairly. But since this is a walkthrough and we don't do that, we are not gonna take him on fairly. First of all, we're just gonna run past these guys and reactivate this sculptor's idol. Make sure to rest, so we get a refill on all our supplies. If they manage to follow you over to the sculptor's idol, jump down into the house where Black Cat Badger was, or kill them, whichever flips your switch. And before we go to the next mini boss, make sure to equip the shurikens. And here you can see a ninja jumped down, and there was a general over there. That general does not count as a mini-boss. He is just a general that is part of the Ashina forces. And there is no loyalty in between those. Enemies can start fighting each other. So if you want to, you can stand on this roof and see how the fight ends. And I can tell you, usually the ninja wins. Because he is a lot faster than the general. But down here, you can see I'm moving very carefully down here, and that is completely unnecessary. I did know there were 3 wolves down here, but I didn't know exactly where they were. And one of them is down here to the right, behind the pagoda, on the side of the pagoda. You see the little arrow over his head. And there are 2 more wolves inside the house. And the easiest way to take these out are by just using shurikens. And now we're gonna take on Lone Shadow Masanaga, the Spear Bearer. And that is an imposing name, and he is an imposing guy. So what you want to do is sneak here on the right side of the house, because he's in there and we're gonna sneak in behind him and get a death blow. And he doesn't fight fair, because he instantly buffs with his own version of Akos or Yasharikus. And that buff will stay active through this entire fight. So what we do is we bait him over here. Make sure he runs after you down to this little walkway and just jump over the fence. He cannot jump over. And he will have a really hard time hitting you while he's standing up on the walkway. Sometimes he doesn't cooperate. He can run down the stairs and try to get close to you that way. If he does that, you will see him doing it in this video. Then all you have to do is jump up on the fence and jump up on the walkway. See, now he's running down. So just jump up here, get away from him. Because with that buff and the fact that he has quite a substantial amount of attacks, and he also has a poison stab that you saw right there, he is a tall order to take on. And sometimes he can be just an asshole. He can run back up into the other pagoda, he can jump over to the roof, try to jump down, but just move accordingly. As soon as he gets down on the ground, make sure to jump up on the walkway. Try to get him back up on the walkway. Do not do what I do here and try to swing at him while he's standing down on the ground, because he will have an easier time hitting you than you will have hitting him. And when he's standing up on the walkway, since we have unlocked the mid-air prosthetic art or whatever it was called, you can actually, if you want this fight to go a little bit faster, you can throw oil at him and jump up and set him aflame, which will cook his ass for a little bit and make his health go down quicker. And you don't want, this is very important, make sure that you whittle down his entire health before you go for the death blow. Because he has a really quick recovery time, and I've realized from time to time that if you try to jump up, if you're standing down on the ground, he's up on the walkway, and you fill his posture bar and try to go up, he will recover in the time it takes you to go up, and suddenly you're standing on the same level as him, and it's a very enclosed area, and he hits like a truck and everything gets really sad. So make sure you drain his entire health bar, just to be extra cautious in this fight. And feel free to use the flame vent to cook his ass even faster. You see, now he went down. I did build up his posture bar. He still had a little bit of health left, so I decided to grind that down before I jumped up and went for the kill. And we will also face off against him later on in the game. And fun fact, I actually read this on the official wiki for this game. Because he is called the Spear Bearer, and I thought that was a weird name because didn't really add up. And I went into the wiki and realized that his name is actually translated wrong into English. Because the direct translation of his name from Japanese is the spear-footed. That his kicks are like getting a spear thrust, and if you ever take one of those, you will realize that is quite an accurate name. But now we are going up to the dojo. We are gonna take down the last fight of this video. So we run up here and we rest at the sculptor's idol. And make sure to equip the Mortal Draw combat art going into this fight. Because you see right there, that is Lone Shadow Vile Hand. And he also has those poisonous attacks. And we're gonna use that to our advantage. And we're also gonna equip the Loaded Spear. So we switch out Whirlwind Slash for the Mortal Draw or Ichimonji Double. But first thing you wanna do is sneak in and kill this purple ninja. As soon as he dies, pause the game and quit out. Quit out to the main menu, go back in, continue game. Because what will happen is that the ninja is dead and Lone Shadow is now in a passive state. So we can sneak in and do a death blow. Which makes this fight significantly easier. And we instantly follow that up with the Mortal Draw. And we're gonna circle around him and wait for him to go into one of his attack animations. Because especially when he does the poison stab, he will be animation locked. And he cannot break out of it. So if you're really quick to close the distance, go in for a Mortal Draw, you will have great opportunities to punish him. See, I immediately go in and do a double Mortal Draw every time. And his life bar is sinking fast. Even though he may be able to block it, this hurts even through blocks. And you see, all I'm doing is just running in a circle around him and down he goes. Really easy boss fight as soon or as long as you know the trick to it. And since he was the third mini boss we took down here and we had quite a few prayer beads, we now have 4 more prayer beads. We are gonna make, what is it, the 7th prayer necklace? Something? Let's see. We enhance our physical attributes. And we get our 8th prayer necklace even. So there are only 8 prayer beads left to unlock. And now, since we have 4 skill points, we acquire run and slides, we can get Shinobi Eyes, which will make things easier in the next fight. Because we are gonna, in the next episode, I'm gonna show you the first of the 4 endings to this game. And before you move on from here, make sure to pause the game or quit out of the game and upload your save file to PlayStation Plus. Because we're gonna reload that after the first boss fight. But either way, that's a story for the next episode. But I wanna thank you very much for watching. And I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.